Hello and welcome to another episode of the Spaghetti Western Podcast. This is season 3, episode 10, overall number 75. I'm Tom Betts. I'll be your host this week. And we've got several things to cover. Our ongoing history of the Spaghetti Western. We'll talk about Il Bandolero Stanco, also known as the Tired Outlaw. Whatever became of, we're going to cover Brian Kelly. Who are those guys? Spanish actor Lorenzo Robledo. Film of the week is Black Tigress, aka Lola Colt. CD of the week is a double. They Call Me Trinity, The Forgotten Pistolero, and then we've got our regular book of the week, autograph of the week. No posters this week, and we'll finish up with the weekly news. So let's get going. The first thing we're going to talk about is our ongoing series on the history of the Spaghetti Western. This week we'll talk about Il Bandolero Stanco, which is also known as The Tired Outlaw. It was a 1952 Italian film production from Rome by Iris Film. Producers are Imo Bistolfi, Ezio Gagliardo. Director is Fernando Cerchio, which is a director that was in the heyday of the Spaghetti Westerns. It was again 1952. Story is by Imo Bistolfi and Sandro Continenza, among others. Music is by Angelo Francesco Lavagnino. Cinematography is by Tino Santoni. The film stars Renato Rascal as Pepito, Loretta Maicero as Susanna, Franco Giamonti or Hamonti as Fred, Tino Boazelli as Paco. Some of the other name you might recognize is Lino Banfi. Anyways, the story goes, Paquito, played by Renato Rascal, a poor peon travels to Golden City, hoping to find gold, which will allow him to be rich and then to win the heart of the cruel Carmen. In Golden City, a gang led by Fred, the sheriff, has picked the miners clean, but Pepito discovers a new gold deposit and becomes the richest man in Golden City. He then writes to Carmen, played by Leah Di Leo, to come and join him. That evening, he celebrates his find in the saloon. Pepito, despite the advice of Susanna, played by Loretta Maciero, a saloon girl who has fallen in love with him, plays roulette with Fred, played by Franco Giamonti, who has the game rigged and takes away all his money. Carmen arrives a few days later, accompanied by Fred and his men. Pepito, naive but grateful, welcomes Fred, but on his wedding day discovers that Carmen and Fred have made an agreement to rob him and then flee. With a ploy, Pepito disarms Fred's gang, then fights with Fred and wins. Carmen, Fred, and his gang are kicked out of Golden City, while Pepito marries Susanna. We're going to talk a little bit about the people involved in the film. Renato Rascal as Pepito, we talked about last week. This is basically, that film was so successful, they decided to make another Western parody the following year. But for those who weren't here last week or weren't paying attention, Renato Rascal, stage name for Renato Ranucci, pronounced Ranuti. He was born in Turin, Italy on April 27, 1912. He was an Italian film actor, singer, and songwriter. He appeared in 50 films between 1942 and 1972, and he represented Italy in the Eurovision Song Contest in 1960 with the song Romantica, which placed 8th out of 13 entries. He died in Rome on January 2nd, 1991. Loretta Maicero, who plays Susanna, was born in Venice, Italy on October 25, 1927. She debuted in the theater of varieties as a dancer with Wanda Osiris. In 1962, she began acting in films and worked with such stars as Toto, Ugo Tognazzi, Gianni Dorelli, Raimondo Vianello, and Oreste Lionello. She had the lead in the television series Adventures of Laura Storm. Loretta was married to Gianni Dorelli. The couple had a son, actor Gianluca Guidi. Loretta died from Alzheimer's disease in Rome on March 23rd, 2010. Another one of the co-stars is Franco Homanti, played Fred. Franco was born sometime in the 1930s in Messina, Sicily, Italy. He was an Italian actor who appeared in many European photo comics, most notably as a gangster in the Sadistic series. He appeared in 43 films from 1950 to 1973. 6 of these were Euro Westerns. I cannot find any information that he passed away or what he might be doing today. The last person we're going to cover is Tino Bozzoli, played Paco. Agostino Bozzelli was born in Frascati, Italy on September 13th, 1922. He was an Italian stage, television, and film actor who appeared in 46 films between 1948 and 1978. After receiving his high school diploma, Bozzoli enrolled in the Accademia di Arte Drammatica in Rome, graduating in 1946. He made his debut the following year in the stage company Maltagaliaga Gassman. He died in Rome on October 20th, 1980. And that concludes our history of the spaghetti westerns. Next, we'll talk about Whatever Became of. Okay, this week we're going to talk about Brian Kelly. Brian was born in Detroit, Michigan on February 14th, 1931. He was an American actor, widely known for his role as Porter Ricks, the widowed father of 2 sons on the NBC television series Flipper. He was the son of then Michigan Governor Harry E. Kelly and author Mary Kelly. He had 3 sisters and 2 brothers. Kelly served in the Marine Corps during the Korean War. After his service, he headed to Hollywood to become an actor. He appeared in several small supporting roles in TV series during the 1950s, then starred in 2 TV series, NBC's 21 Beacon Street in 1959 and ABC's Straight Away in 1961 to 62. In 1964, Kelly took over the Chuck Connors role from the 1963 family film Flipper, playing Porter Ricks, chief warden at Coral Key Park and Marine Preserve, and recently widowed father of Sandy Ricks, played by Luke Halpin. In the 1964 sequel, Flipper's New Adventure, he continued the role of the family-oriented action and adventure television program Flipper that same year. Excuse me. In the TV series, Porter would also have a second son named Bud, played by Tommy Norton. Excuse me again. Kelly was quoted at the time as saying he loved the role because of his family-oriented qualities. The success of Flipper, which was filmed in Miami and the Bahamas, led to a brief movie career, including a lead in Around the World Under the Sea in 1966. In 1968, he ventured to Italy and made his only spaghetti western, The Longest Hunt, with Keenan Wynn, Folco Lully, and Fabrizio Moroni. In 1970, Kelly sought to change his image by playing the role of Robin Stone in The Love Machine, based on a novel by Jacqueline Suzanne. Just prior to filming, he was involved in a motorcycle accident which left his right arm and leg paralyzed. John Philip Law took over the role Kelly was to have, whom Suzanne had called the perfect Robin Stone. He won a legal settlement in the case, but the accident ended his acting career. Kelly went on to be executive producer on Harrison Ford's 1982 film Blade Runner. Kelly was married twice. His first wife was actress Laura Devon, and then to Valerie Ann Romero, with whom he had 2 children. Kelly died of pneumonia on February 12, 2005, in Voorhees Township, New Jersey, 2 days before his 74th birthday. So that concludes Whatever Became of. Next, we're going to cover who are those guys. This week, whatever became of is Lorenzo Robledo. Lorenzo Robledo Jimenez was born in Madrid, Spain on July 3rd, 1918. He was a Spanish film actor who made over 85 appearances in film between 1956 and 1982. He was a familiar face in Italian westerns, having appeared in a total of 48 spaghetti western films throughout the 1960s and early 1970s. I don't think he was born in 1918. I found references that he was born in 1934, which makes a lot more sense. So let's go with the 1934 birth date. Robredo is probably best known for his roles in the spaghetti westerns of Sergio Leone in the 1960s and 70s, portraying the two minor characters in the trilogy of films A Fistful of Dollars, For a Few Dollars More, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. He acted in many other westerns, prolifically including The Tortured Sheriff and For the Apocalypse in 1975. To me, other than Tomas Milian, he's the most tortured actor in the spaghetti western genre. His most notable role in Leone's films, where he is more recognizable, in For a Few Dollars More, when he plays Tommaso, the character and a cornered-in enemy of the main evil villain who tortures him and murders his family before killing him. He's also a character that spits when the man with no name asks the Baxter henchman to apologize for scaring his mule. Robledo also participated in Spanish television series such as Canis Ibarro and Curro Jimenez. Robledo was sometimes credited as Norman Preston and Lawrence Rambling. He died in Madrid on September 7th, 2006. Some of his more well-known roles were, as I said, Fistful of Dollars, he plays the Baxter henchman. For a Few Dollars More in 65, he plays Tommaso. The Big Gun Down, pictured here, he plays Dave, the settler, who Lee steals his horse. Fort Yuma Gold, 1966, he plays Captain Taylor. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, 1966, he plays Clem, which both Eli and the man with no name or Angel or Blondie take care of on the street. Navajo Joe, in 66, he plays a character named Robledo. A Minute to Pray, A Second to Die, in 67, he plays one of Kraut's henchmen. Cemetery Without Crosses, in 68, he plays Roger's ranch hand. Mercenary, in 68, he plays the firing squad captain. Once Upon a Time in the West, he's one of Cheyenne's henchmen. Price of Power, in 69, he plays Brett. Compañeros, in 1970, he plays Captain Jim. And then in Sonny and Jed, 72, he plays a roulette croupier. 74, he plays a tortured sheriff in For the Apocalypse. And he rounds out his spaghetti western career in The White, the Yellow, and the Black in 1974 as a soldier guarding on the train. So that wraps up whatever became of. Next, we'll talk about the film of the week. Film of the week is Lola Colt, also known in the American release as Black Tigress. Other names, English names it goes by as Lola Colt, Face to Face with the Devil, Lola Baby, Frontier Tigress, Mean in Black. It's a 67 Italian production by Cines Europa out of Rome, directed by Ciro Marcellini, screenplay and story by Luigi Angelo and Liberto Antonelli and Ciro Marcellini. Cinematography is by Giuseppe Lattori. It's in Telecolor and VistaVision. Music is by Ubaldo Cantinello, and Lola Falana is starring it, and she sings 3 songs in the film. She stars as Lola Gate. Also in the starring role is Herman Kobos, who plays Larry El Diablo Stern. Peter Martell plays Rod Strader. Franco Dadi plays Paco. Also in the film are familiar names Tom Pileggi and Dada Galati. The story goes a song and dance troupe arrives in the town of Santa Ana, which is held in the grips of El Diablo, played by Herman Kobos, and his gang of Mexican bandits. One of the girls in the show, Virginia, has malaria, and they must hold up in town until she recovers. Although the town objects to the showgirls, the local saloon owner takes pity on them and allows them to stay at his saloon. This gives Lola, who played by Lola Falana, the opportunity to sing a few songs, strut her stuff, and rally the town and challenge El Diablo. El Diablo is running a protection racket where he taxes the town. If they don't pay, hostages are taken to a secret ranch and are murdered if the town refuses his orders. Rod, played by Peter Martell, is a local former medical student who looks after Virginia and eventually falls for Lola. The town falls to rally around Lola until El Diablo kills a small boy. The town has had enough and follows Lola, who forces El Diablo into a showdown where he is killed, and the hostages are freed. Rod ends up leaving town with Lola and the troupe at the end of the film. This is not available on video, DVD, or Blu-ray. What's surprising to me is the fact that Lola Falana, a black actress, starred in this in 1967. It's one of the few films, American or European, that has a black actor or actress in a starring role. We'll get into the cast members in a little biography here. First, we're going to talk about Lola Falana. Born Lolitha Falana, she was born in Camden, New Jersey on September 11th, 1942. She left home as a teenager to seek her fortune in entertainment. She often slept in subway stations before finding work. She studied African dance, and her big break came when she appeared opposite Sammy Davis Jr. in Golden Boy on Broadway in 1964. She then toured Italy and won fame there in 2 Italian movies. She toured with the Tavares brothers in the 1970s and married Feliciano Butch Tavares. In 1979, she became the highest paid entertainer in Las Vegas, thus earning her title First Lady of Las Vegas. Next, we want to talk about Herman Kobos. Herman Sanchez Hernandez Kobos was born in Sevilla, Spain on July 7, 1927. He was sometimes billed as Jerry Cobb and George Gordon. He studied dramatic art in Madrid at the Escuela Oficial de Cine de España and devoted himself to theater, where he carved out an important role in the company Lili Murati, a Hungarian actress who was very popular in the 1940s Spain. His film debut came about in 1951 in The Lioness of Castilla. Without ever leaving the theater, he arrived in Italy very soon thereafter. We remember him in The Peplum, the Sword, and the Cross by Guido Brigoni, and in the comedy Susanna Tudapana by Steno. He starred in numerous Western films such as Blood Calls to Blood, Quinto Fighting Proud, Massacre at Fort Grant, but above all, his performance along Giuliana Gemma in Wanted by Giorgio Ferroni, where he played Martin Hayward. Kobos died on January 12, 2015 in Almuensar, Spain. And we have Peter Martell. Pietro Martellanza was born on September 30th, 1938 in Bolzano, Italy. He started his career in the cinema as a stuntman. He was mainly active in the 1960s and 70s, appearing in about 70 films. After a longer break, he starred in some movies again from 2002 on. Martell was chosen as a leading actor in God Forgives, I Don't, but the day before the first shoot, he broke his foot during a fight with his girlfriend and was replaced by Terrence Hill, which started Hill's successful partnership with Bud Spencer. Martell was indifferent to his acting career and never reached the stardom he deserved. In later life, he fell into depression and tried to commit suicide. He lived the last few years of his life on a government subsidy and died on February 1st, 2010, in his hometown of Bolzona. Peter was basically taking care of the townsmen as a friend of the town and one of its great founding fathers. Last but not least, we want to talk about Franco Datti, who played Paco. Franco Virgilio Datti was a stunt coordinator, stuntman, and master of arms, film, TV actor, and brother of Waldemar Datti. He appeared in 31 films from 1964 to 2002, including 24 Euro Westerns. I can find no birth or death date on Franco Datti, so that's all I have on him. Now we want to get into our CD of the week. Camera's a little slow picking this up. This is a double CD, L'Otium Avano Trinita, which is They Call Me Trinity, and Il Pistolero dell'Ave Maria, which we know as the Forgotten Pistolero. Franco Michelizzi and Roberto Pregadio are the composers of the Forgotten Pistolero. This is out of Italy on the Circe label, number CU006. Has 27 tracks, 50 minutes of listening pleasure, and the extras include a 4-page booklet. I could only find this available on Discogs. They have 4 for sale from 45 pounds plus 18 pounds shipping. So apparently only out of England. And that's the CD of the week. We now want to get into Book of the Week. Okay, this is not really a book, but it's the script for Troublemakers. And I got this from my friend Neil Summers. And what they did with the script, and this is in English, it gives all the different actors their lines so they can memorize them before. He has put in brackets his lines so he knows what to say and when to say it. And in this one, he played Dodge, the lead villain. So that's the book of the week. Then we want to talk about the autograph of the week. Autograph of the week is by Neil Summers, and this is from Troubleshooters. And it also has Bud Spencer in it, Me and the Big Man himself, signed by Neil Summers. And that's the autograph and book of the week. I did not print out the weekly news, so I don't have the weekly news to give you. I do want to mention I had 3 obits. One was passing yesterday of Mitch Ryan. Mitchell Ryan was a TV, theater, and a film actor. He appeared in Dark Shadows back in the 50s in a number of Westerns, and we know him from The Hunting Party in 1972, where he played Doc Harrison. The other 2 obits were, one was a French voice dubber. And the reason I put him in the weekly news was the fact that he was Terrence Hill's French voice on many of his films. There he is there. I don't have his name. I'm sorry about that. And bring up the third picture, please. And I remember who that is. Oh, Arnaldo Finaldi. He was in two spaghetti westerns. Boot Hill. He was a dwarf actor, and he was also in uh, Nicoletta Machiavelli's Gatling gun. He played the little baby that she carried around, and she would strategically place the baby behind her opponent's chair during gambling sessions, and he would give her hand signals on what cards the guy played. So that's what I've got out of memory. Those three passings. We have no DVDs, no CDs available this week. So that will wrap it up for this week Spaghetti Western podcast. We've got a special next week, which I won't tell you about. You'll have to wait and see. And we're trying to line up a special guest for the week after. So until next week, adios, amigos.